Circle opens. We need help, the poet reckoned. Edward Dorn. Sally, a mutter. Wake up now, Sally. A louder mutter. Let me alone. He shook her harder. Wake up! You got to wake up! Charlie. Charlie's voice. Calling her. For how long? Sally swung out of sleep. First, she glanced at the clock on the night table and saw it was 2:15 in the morning. Charlie shouldn't even be here. He should be on shift. Then, she got her first good look at him, and something leapt up inside her, some deadly intuition. Her husband was deathly pale. His eyes started and bulged from the sockets. The car keys were in one hand. He was still using the other to shake her, although her eyes were open. It was as if he hadn't been able to register the fact that she was awake. Charlotte, what is it? What's wrong? He didn't seem to know what to say. His arms elbowed about futilely, but there was no sound in the small service bungalow but the ticking of the clock. Is it fire? She asked stupidly. It was the only thing she could think of which might have put him in such a state. She knew his parents had perished in a house fire. In a way, he said. In a way, it's worse. You gotta get dressed, honey. Get baby LeBon. We gotta get out of here. Why? She asked, getting out of bed. Dark fear had seized her. Nothing seemed right. This was like a dream. Where? You mean the backyard? But she knew it wasn't the backyard. She had never seen Charlie look afraid like this. She drew a deep breath and could smell no smoke or burning. Sally, honey, don't ask questions. We have to get away far away. You just go get baby LeVon and get her dressed. But should I? Is there time to pack? This seemed to stop him, to derail him somehow. She thought she was as afraid as she could be, but she wasn't apparently. She recognized that what she took for fright on his part was closer to raw panic. He ran a distracted hand through his hair and replied, I don't know. I'll have to test the wind. And he left her with this bizarre statement, which meant nothing to her. Left her standing cold, afraid, and disoriented in her bare feet and baby doll nightie. It was as if he had gone mad. What did testing the wind have to do with whether or not she had time to pack, and where it was far away? Reno, Vegas, Salt Lake City, and she put a hand against her throat as a new idea struck her. Absent without leave. Leaving in the middle of the night meant Charlie was planning to go absent without leave. She went into the small room which served as baby LeVon's nursery, and stood for a moment, indecisive, looking at the sleeping infant in her pink blanket suit. She held to this faint hope that this might be no more than an extraordinarily vivid dream. It would pass. She would wake up at 7 in the morning, just like usual, and feed baby LeVon herself while she watched the first hour of the Today Show and be cooking Charlie's eggs when he came off shift at 8 a.m. He's not touring the reservations North Tower over for another night. And in 2 weeks he would be back on days and not so cranky. And if he was sleeping with her at night, then she wouldn't have crazy dreams like this one. And hurry it up! He hissed at her, breaking her faint hope. We got just time to throw a few things together. But for Christ's sake, woman, if you love her, he pointed at the crib, you get her dressed. He coughed nervously into his hand and began to yank things out of their bureau drawers and pile them helter-skelter into a couple of old suitcases. She woke up baby LeVon, soothing the little one as best she could. The 3-year-old was cranky and bewildered at being awoke in the middle of the night, and she began to cry as Sally got her in underpants, a blouse, and a romper. The sound of the child's crying made her more afraid than ever. She associated it with the other times baby LeVon, usually the most angelic of babies, had cried in the night. Diaper rash, teething, croup, colic. Fear slowly changed to anger as she saw Charles almost run past the door with a double handful of her own underwear. Bra straps trailed out behind him like the streamers from New Year's Eve noisemakers. He flung them into one of the suitcases and slammed it shut. The hem of her best slip hung out, and she just bet it was torn. What is it? She cried, and the distraught tone of her voice caused baby LeVon to burst into fresh tears just as she was winding down sniffles. Have you gone crazy? They'll send soldiers after us, Charlie, soldiers! Not tonight, they won't, he said, and there was something so sure in his voice that it was horrible. Point of sugar, baby, if we don't get our asses in gear, we're never gonna make off the base. I don't even know how in hell I got out of the tower. Malfunctioned somewhere, I guess. Why not? Everything else sure God malfunctioned. And he uttered a high, loon-like laugh that frightened her more than anything else had done. The baby dressed good. Put some of her clothes in the suitcase. Use the blue tote bag in the closet for the rest of them. Go and get the hell out. I think we're all right. Wind's blowing east to west. Thank God for that. He coughed into his hand again. Daddy! Baby Levon demanded, holding her arms up. Oh, Daddy, sure! Horsey ride, Daddy! Horsey ride, sure! Not now, Charlie said, and disappeared into the kitchen. A moment later, Sally heard the rattle of crockery. He was getting her pin money out of the blue soup dish on the top shelf. Some $30 or $40 she had put away. $1, sometimes 50 cents at a time. Her house money. It was real then. Whatever it was really real. Baby Levon denied her horsey ride by her daddy, who rarely if ever denied her anything, began to weep again. Sally struggled to get her into her light jacket and then threw most of her clothes into the tote, cramming them in helter-skelter. The idea of putting anything else into the other suitcase was ridiculous. It would burst. She had to kneel on it and snap the catches. She found herself thanking God Baby Levon was trained and there was no need to bother with diapers. Charlie came back into the bedroom, and now he was running. He was still stuffing the crumpled 1s and 5s from the soup dish into the front pocket of his suntans. Sally scooped Baby Levon up. She was fully awake now and could walk perfectly well, but Sally wanted her in her arms. She bent and snagged the tote bag. Where are we going, Daddy? Baby Levon asked. I was sleeping. Baby can be sleeping in the car, Charlie said, grabbing the 2 suitcases. The hand of Sally's slip flapped. His eyes saw that white, airy look. An idea, a growing certainty, began to dawn in Sally's mind. Was there an accident? She whispered. Oh, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, there was one. An accident. Out there. I was playing solitaire, he said. I looked up and I saw the clock had gone from green to red. I turned on the monitor. Sally, they're all... He paused, looked at Baby Levon's eyes, and although still rimmed with tears, curious. They're all DED down there, he said, all but 1 or 2, and they're probably gone now. What's DED, Daddy? Levon asked. Never mind, honey, Sally said. Her voice seemed to come to her from down a very long canyon. Charlie swallowed. Something clicked in his throat. Everything's supposed to mag-log if the clock goes red. They got a chub computer that runs the whole place and is supposed to be fail-safe. I saw what was on the monitor and I jumped out the door. I thought the goddamn thing would cut me in half. Sure checked the second the clock went red. And I don't know how long it was red before I looked up and noticed it, but I was almost to the parking lot when I heard it thump shut behind me. Still, if I'd looked up even 30 seconds later, I'd be shoving that tower control room right now like a bug in a bottle. What is it? I don't know. I don't want to know. All I know is that the KILLED them quick. If they want me, then they'll have to catch me. I was getting hazard pay, but they ain't paying me enough to hang around here. When's well and West, we're driving east. Come on now. Still feeling half asleep, caught in some awful grinding dream, she followed him out to the driveway where their 15-year-old Chevy stood, quietly rusting in the fragrant desert darkness of the California night. Charlie dumped the suitcases in the trunk and the tote bag in the back seat. Sally stood for a moment by the passenger door with the baby in her arms, looking at the bungalow they had spent the last 4 years. When they moved in, she reflected, Baby Levon was still growing inside her, all of her horsey rides ahead of her. Come on, he said. Get on, woman. She did. He backed out, the Chevy's headlights momentarily splashing across the house. Their reflection in the windows looked like the eyes of some hunted beast. He was hunched tensely over the steering wheel, his face drawn in the dim glow of the dashboard instruments. If the base gates were closed, no one would try to crash through. And he really meant it. She could tell. Suddenly, her knees felt watery. But there was no need for such desperate measures. The base gates were standing open. One guard was nodding over a magazine. She couldn't see the other. Perhaps he was in the head. This was the outer part of the base, a conventional army vehicle depot. What went on at the hub of the base was of no concern to these fellows. Walked up at 7 o'clock, gone red. She shivered and put her hand on his leg. Baby Levon was sleeping again. Charlie patted her hand briefly and said, It's gonna be all right. By dawn, they were running east across Nevada, and Charlie was coughing steadily.